following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
I am back. You are comfortably zoned with me, the Zig Zag Man, on Thanksgiving. And I am in Alameda, California, right across the bay from San Francisco and across the moat from Oakland. I am joined by a good buddy from the network, and will soon be joined by another one. But Michael Duca is here on Thanksgiving. How are you, sir?
I'm as well as a former Alamedan can be.
Oh, yes. You are well mostly all the time for a number of reasons. You're living your dream, and you have passion in your life, and that's important. That's what makes the day go round. And I like to talk to people with passion, and you show it on the Giants podcast. Jerry Feitelberg shows it on the A's podcast. He's going to join us in a little bit. And I'd just like to talk to you guys a little bit about what Thanksgiving means to you, how you celebrated it as a kid, and what you have to be thankful for on this day. And we'll hear from Jerry, and then I will chime in. Michael, get to know you a little bit.
Well, let's see. Thanksgiving as a kid, mostly what I remember is, let's see, remember those about 60 years ago, Ralph, everybody had an oval-shaped roasting pan that was like blue porcelain with white speckles in it? I definitely remember.
I do remember those. I remember the 50s kind of deco design.
And that was always never quite big enough for the turkey that my mom wanted. She always, I distinctly remember us going out and looking for tom turkeys because hens weren't big enough, quote unquote, and we would wind up with a 27-pound turkey that literally nobody in the house particularly wanted. There were only three of us, and God knows why we needed a 27-pound turkey, but boy, did we eat turkey for weeks afterwards, it seemed like.
Great sandwiches.
Oh, yeah. For my money, I would be perfectly happy sitting at the Thanksgiving table with all of my family having one glass of wine and not eating. Because for me, I need to save it up for the only time all year that I buy straight out Wonder Bread and a bag of Lay's potato chips. Turkey sandwiches on Thanksgiving night are really what it's all about.
Well, you couldn't do it without the Wonder Bread because Wonder Bread helps build strong bodies 12 ways.
Yes.
When I was a kid, and this is true, it was just 8 ways. The 12 they came up with 4 other ways between the time I was really young and by the time...
Well, you know what that is. You know what that is. I can explain that to you.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I can explain that to you. The bread is made with enriched flour, and they added more vitamins to enriched flour after a period of time when they learned more about nutrition and how important vitamins were.
Oh, really? That's
So
those literally they
ways.
added 4 different vitamins, a combination, whatever, and made it 12 ways. And so there was truth in advertising in some respect.
In some respect, yes. It's kind of like, Colonel Sanders, 14 secret herbs and spices or whatever the number is. The vast majority of those are salt and pepper, by the way.
Really? That's it. Just different, how much salt and pepper makes the difference?
Probably different grinds and different shapes. I don't know.
Yeah. Wow, that's very interesting. So, What was it? A peaceful time around you as a kid? Thanksgiving when family got together? Because sometimes, and my family is a great example of this. It isn't always just chit chat for one reason or another.
Our family was always lightweight, always mild. Nothing like, I woke up this morning and I opened up Facebook and the first thing I saw was a post from Henry Schulman that said, ruin Thanksgiving in 4 words. And then he said, I'll start. Boy, Ivanka looks hot. And I proceeded to add my contribution, which was, the stuffing has tentacles.
Well, I'll tell you, I wasn't going to, but I will, because you opened the doors to it all, I will read my meme of the day that I made Tally smile a little bit when she read it. Bill woke up with a Woody, thinking of Trump sending Hillary off to prison, and Monica's still missing him.
Yeah, well.
I know something. The old guy is my age, so just that he woke up with a Woody, you got to give him a little bit of credit.
Yeah, although it was probably, a 1953 Willis station wagon.
Right. The original Woodies.
Original Woodies.
Probably yep. Not. And anybody out there that doesn't know what an original Woody station wagon was, or never saw one, never heard of it, you're probably not enjoying this podcast very much. It's just my guess.
Very little doubt about that. No, Thanksgiving in our house was never all that sentimental. For whatever reasons, it got more sentimental as I grew older, and wound up in a sort of a blended family. But it was what I remember of Thanksgiving for the most part is that we always put the turkey in the oven the night before. Nobody seemed to, of course, it was a 27-pound turkey, so it was going to take 7 hours to cook or something like that. But
and again, 3 people.
3 people, and the night before, which means the turkey was ready at 7 in the morning, and then just for good measure we would cook it till it was done again. So I didn't know that turkey could be juicy until I grew up and bought small ones and brined them. For the most part, it was just sort of, it was a ritual. It was really a ritual. Everyone else was doing it. You did it. Nobody in the house was all that fond of hot turkey. But despite that, you not only made a turkey every year, you made a turkey to feed Blythe Memorial. We always had.
Hello, guys.
Hey, Jerry Feitelberg joins us.
Sorry, I'm late. I got tired.
No problem. You just missed the first part of Thanksgiving. There's still a drumstick left for you.
And Jerry, you're early for the next podcast, so don't worry about it.
No, there's another one today?
No. I was just saying, if you're late for one, you're early for another one.
Okay.
Jerry, we're talking Thanksgiving, and like to hear your voice a little bit. What I propose to do is, and Michael is cooperating, is talk about your early Thanksgiving Day memories when you were a kid. What was it about? And,
when I was a kid, when my brother, who was 7.5 years older than I was, we would go to the Boston Latin, Boston English football game on Thanksgiving at Harvard Stadium. The game usually started about 10 o'clock in the morning, and I think they're now this is the 132nd edition of the game. Goes way back when. And it was played at Harvard Stadium. And Harvard Stadium was a horseshoe stadium. And on one side was the sunny side, and the other side was the shady side. And they alternated sides. They changed sides every other year. And if you got the sunny side, you were just happy as a clam could be because it was nice and warm. And if you were on the shady side, you froze, and your toes were frozen by halftime. And one of the neat things was going down underneath the stadium and getting a hot chocolate at halftime.
What did they do on a
Jerry, you're talking about northeast winters too.
Oh yeah, in late November we'd have snow. It'd be bitter cold, windy, and then of course we would go home and get home around 2 or 2:30, and my mother would have Thanksgiving dinner ready for us. That was really neat. Then of course later I played football in that game, and I was on the football team way back when in the 50s, but I'm only 37 years old. So
well, you're actually
and
going
being
on 38.
Right, and being a pharmacist, I assume you were on Boston Latin.
Of course.
Veritas.
Yeah, the Boston English. They were the hoodlums.
Oh, I see.
Well, Jerry, you're a big guy. What position did you play?
Oh, I was on offense. I started out as a left tackle. Then they moved me to center on offense, but I preferred to play defense. I was a nose tackle, and we used a 4-man line in high school in the mid '50s, which was really unheard of. But we were copying the New York Giants 4-3-4, 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and 4 defensive backs. We would do that, but we would go into a 5-2 or 5-3 occasionally, depending on it's high school football. So the pass.
And you were Sam Huff, right?
No, I was who was the Jim Burt type of player more than Sam Huff, or
Rosie Greer. Rosie Greer tackle.
Yeah, defensive tackle. Yeah. I
was thinking of your nose tackle days.
Yeah, I'd line up on the center, and I would. I just thought of a funny incident happened. We were playing. This is maybe when I was on the junior varsity, in the 10th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. I don't remember which year. And we had a guy, Bobby Grossman, who was a year ahead of us, and he was a right tackle. And we're playing a junior varsity game somewhere, and we're all down, and we're on defense. Or no, Bobby's on offense, I should say. He was an offensive tackle, and he's looking at the guys. In high school, you snarl at the guy, you growl at him, I'm going to rip your head off type of stuff. And Bobby looks at the guy across the line. He says, "Yo, you're so cute. I just can't wait to kiss you on the lips." And the guy gets so pissed off, and he starts pounding on Bobby. And Bobby took him out, and the play went for a touchdown. We were all laughing.
Good memories.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's my turn. I'm going to talk about Thanksgiving, and what comes to mind. Even before going to my grandmother's for Thanksgiving, we all went up to the Bronx for a wonderful Thanksgiving dinner, which was a little more tumultuous than you described yours, Michael. Around the table, we weren't as mellow, perhaps, but Thanksgiving was
no, but surviving the Bronx is enough to be thankful for right there.
Right. Nobody survives the Bronx. they're damaged, and by the same token, the stuff you get from the Bronx sticks with you. The good stuff sticks with you. But there are some damaging parts. But, what comes to mind, speaking of athletics, what was the Thanksgiving Day football game? It was always the Detroit Lions. And it was the Detroit Lions back in the days of, you guys definitely remember, because you both remember everything, Plimpton's book. George
Paper Lion.
Paper Lion, right. And
George Plimpton, you got it.
And he described what it was like to be a football player. Really, I thought reading that as a kid really was terrific. But he also mentioned people in the book that I'd see on Thanksgiving, Alex Karras and the like, Night Train Lane, who was married to Dinah Washington, my favorite blues singer of that time. And it was pretty cool watching Detroit. Milt Plum was the quarterback.
Milt Plum, there you go.
The last name of the football player, of the fullback, escapes me, and it's a great name to pronounce too. So when I come up with it, boy, I'm going on.
Wasn't Doak Walker a back with the Lions in those days? Doak Walker.
Doak was before my time.
What about Bobby Lane? Bobby Lane, the quarterback, played for the Lions before going to the Steelers.
I know.
Well,
he played without a head, a mouth guard or whatever they call it, a bar in front of him. I think he was one of the last players to play without a face
chin bar. Yeah,
face mask.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just the words that throw me. That's all. You gotta.
Nobody asked, but I have a favorite player from those Lions too.
Who's that?
Yale Larry.
Yale Larry.
Who I always thought, it would be so weird to be Yale Larry because in the phone book your name would be Larry Yale.
Yeah, right.
Right. And Yale Larry, I think, was not only a defensive back, but a punter as well?
He was the punter and place kicker, yep.
Oh, wow. I have a bunch of minutia going on that in my head that just never helps me in life, except in conversations like this, and it's enough. It fills up my brain. But I wish I had room for some other stuff of importance up in that brain. That would be great.
Didn't the Packers always play the Lions on Thanksgiving? I remember one year, I think it was a terrific game they played in 1962. A fabulous Thanksgiving game. I don't know the score.
I don't think it was one set opponent for the Lions every year, but I could be wrong.
No,
but I do remember that 62 Packer team so well. Oh, God, they were great.
Sure. Jim Taylor, Paul Hornung, Bart Starr.
Max McGee.
Yeah. Forrest, whatever his name was. I can't think of it.
Forrest Gregg. Jim Ringo.
Forrest Gregg. Kramer. Jim Ringo was the center. Wow.
Yeah.
They were
and you forgot my favorite Packer of that time. Ray Nitschke.
Who was that?
No, Nitschke,
Ray Nitschke.
Of course. Lionel Aldridge. Oof. Then I
still can see in my mind's eye a Sports Illustrated picture of Ray Nitschke. Absolutely, his face looked like he had been in a war. Remember that particular picture? Maybe we could put it up on Google and share it with each other sometime. It really showed the roughness of Sam Huff's era of fighting Jim Brown and what have you. And Huff got a lot of publicity. And when I was 10, I called him on the phone. He lived in Flushing, and he talked to me. I said, Sam Huff. His name was listed, and he was nice enough to talk to me. And it kind of was the start of all of this. But he was the third best linebacker in the league. I think Nishke Schmidt was right up there.
Joe Schmidt, yeah.
Was Butkus playing at that time?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Butkus came into the league in '61, I believe.
Okay. Well.
And it was everything in the winter. I mean, winter sports, hockey, basketball, because we all knew it was just filler until the baseball season started.
Right, but what exciting filler. When you were a kid, the Jaspers were a big deal until we found out why they were so good.
The Jaspers.
You don't remember the Jaspers?
I don't.
Manhattan College.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yes. Basketball, Manhattan. I think they were in on the fix. Am I correct?
That's why they were so good.
Yeah. And, basketball, now that we're talking about filler sports, basketball has something going for it that no other sport has. Every 10 years, with regularity, there's some sort of fix or scandal. Am I right?
Well, I don't know about it now, but years ago, they had them in the 50s and the 60s, and I think they clamped down on it. But I don't recall anyone recently.
Different fixes. Now they have the shoe scandal going on.
The shoes? Well, that's,
Yeah. But, yes, I do remember CCNY was in that. LIU was in that.
Yeah.
And there was a player named Alex Groza, who was the brother of Lou the Toe Groza.
Right.
And he was one of those that was wrapped up in the scandal and was banned from playing in the NBA.
Wasn't he from Kentucky? I think he played for the University of Kentucky.
May have been. I don't know if Claire B. was still at the University of Kentucky then.
No, that would have been Adolph Rupp.
Okay. Adolph Rupp. What teams they had? Cliff Hagan and others come to mind. Kentucky.
Yeah, Frank Ramsey was on that team too.
You're absolutely correct, and it's funny how they played against those guys played and matched up against each other for years in the NBA.
Well, in those days, the basketball players went to college for 4 years before they hit the NBA, and now
except Sandy Koufax.
Except Sandy Koufax, yeah.
Right.
He
gave way to Oscar Robertson at Cincinnati.
Yep. Well, Sandy was a better baseball, as you know, better baseball player than basketball, but he didn't play baseball in high school. He played basketball. One of my friends up in Modesto, not Modesto, up in Mendocino, Jerry Greenberg lived next door to Sandy, and he walked to school with them. They went to Lafayette High School in the Bensonhurst section of Brooklyn, and they would play in New York. They'd play stickball, and Sandy, being left-handed and he could throw very fast. They had this little pink ball that they called a Spalding. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, basically a handball.
Yeah, a little pink rubber ball. And
a little
he said,
softer.
If Sandy hit you with a pitch, you had a welt there for a week. That's how hard it was coming in. they used to, I don't know, they didn't have an umpire. I guess they used to put a basket up or something, or just have an imaginary strike zone. But that's how he got to know Sandy. And of course, when Jerry had his 70 or 75th birthday a few years ago, they invited Sandy to come out to Mendocino, and he got a letter back saying that he declined the invitation. He said he doesn't travel much of these days. So, but anyway, he said just to finish the story, he does have a ball signed by Sandy for him. So things can't be too bad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, before Jerry jumped on, you asked me, among other things, we were supposed to talk about what we're thankful for. And after listening to the last 10 minutes, I'm thankful that guys our age don't lose their long-term memory, at least.
Thank God for that.
Right.
You got that right.
Right. How important that is, and some do. Some guys our age do, and let's be thankful that we're not among those people, because, oh my God, how tragic that would be. So I can't even imagine anything more scary.
Well, Michael, you brought up a good point, what to be thankful for. I was thinking about that today. I was thankful for my parents. I'm thankful for growing up in Boston. I became, learning my love of baseball in Boston, because it's a rabid baseball area, and just having a nice family, a family that made sure that I was able to get a quality education. And then, of course, thankful for my married life, my late wife Geraldine, and my 2 kids, my 2 daughters, and now I'm blessed to have Isla in my life, and all the nice things and all the friends that I made, and my career in pharmacy, and of course now in the sports business. I mean, I just feel so blessed. I'm really thankful for everything. It's just amazing. I appreciate everybody, especially you, Michael. Keep me honest.
I do my best, Jerry. Thank you. That's a very, very tough list to follow. As Doug Greenwald said the other day at the celebration of life for his dad, we all made sure that my sister Kelly would speak last, because nobody can possibly follow her. And they were right. She spoke last, and she literally brought the house to tears. But I, I'm thankful for my 7 children, 6 of whom are stepchildren. I'm thankful that they found me, and that I found them, and that they accepted me and brought me into their lives. I'm obviously thankful for silly material things, like being able to drive a Tesla when I'm way too old to have a car that fun, or having World Series rings. But mostly, I'm thankful for the fact that I've had just so many experiences that every once in a while, I just casually drop something onto Facebook, and a stranger will reply, "I want your life."
Yes,
and I realize that they do want my life, and that I have my life, and therefore I have fulfilled the exact definition. See, I told my kids all the time growing up, happiness is not getting what you want. Happiness is wanting what you have. And everybody wants what I have. So I'd be a fool to not be happy and thankful.
Well, we have such a unique experience in our ability to be able to go out to the sports venues, that as a kid I would have, if someone told me I'd be doing what I'm doing now, I say, you're out of your mind. And for me to be involved with Major League Baseball when I was on the A's staff A's medical staff back in the 90s, being able to write, being able to do the podcast, be able to go to the games, to meet the people that we met. You brought up Hank Greenwald. The first interviews I did when I was doing the Alameda TV things were down in Scottsdale in Phoenix. And I had the good fortune of doing 3 interviews, one all at the same time. And I interviewed Bill King, Ken Korak, and Hank Greenwald. How's that for a trifecta? And I was so excited doing it. But look at all the people we've met along the way. The Vin Scullys, the Ernie Harwells,
the Michael Dukas.
The Michael Dukas.
Well, please.
Amari P. Gonzalez, the Ray Foster.
Seriously.
The Ray Foster. And the neat thing is going over, having dinner at the Coliseum, and Michael joining us for dinner with Amari, and we sit and talk baseball. It doesn't get any better than that for a baseball fan, for anybody. It's really a wonderful thing. And recently, Isla and I were down in Carmel. We were having dinner at this restaurant, and a couple sat next to us, and we got engaged in a conversation. And the guy happened to be from Brookline, Massachusetts, but lives in Dallas, Texas now, and he's a motivational speaker. And he asked me what we did, and I was telling him all these stories. And he says, what you have is that people would die to do what you're doing. And he said, you should be so fortunate. And I said, I really am. He said, well, what you should do is sit down and just write down, these events that happen in your life so that you'll have them, pass them on to your kids when the time comes. And I think that's a good idea, too. And you have stories like that, too, Michael, that you can put down. And Ralph, you've been doing the podcast, and you've met so many interesting people. Ron
I live a life of Walter Mitty.
It's unbelievable.
Everything with Ralph was the tops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had 13 years of summer thrills in the 80s and 90s representing tops and going to the minor leagues, most specifically the California League and the Northwest League, which were leagues that brought players into organized baseball for the first time. And I would obligate them and tops to using their pictures on baseball cards when and if they reach the major leagues. And I have a quick story about that. I was in Fresno, California, and I had one player to see who it was in the Cal League, so there were most of the players in the Cal League had played in organized ball previously to coming to Fresno, but one player hadn't. He was Robbie Thompson, and because this is a Bay Area-based show, I'll tell the story about Robbie. I approached him with an unsigned contract, and I said, Robbie, I'm Ralph Tycho with Tops, and I'd like you to consider a contract that would pay you big money when you reach the when and if you reach the big leagues. He looked at me with this growling look. This is a guy who's about my size, a little wiry, 5'10", 5'11" guy. And he says, when and if I make the major leagues, I'm going to make the major leagues. And he grabs the contract and he signs it, and he growls at me again. And I go on doing my business a little bit and hanging in the clubhouse. I go back to him and I said, you're my favorite ball player of all time. And he looks at me and he smiles. He says, why is that? I said, because you have an intensity and you know what you want, and just the way you said that, and he ended up being my favorite ball player of all time. What a
and well, he should have been. Well, he should have been.
He was an overachiever, and not only that, he turns out to be a human being of the highest quality. He either his relatives or his wife.
His sister.
Was it Okay, tell the story,
His
Michael.
sister and her husband were killed in a traffic accident, and Robbie and his wife adopted their twin children at the age of 1 when Robbie was in A-ball and making $600 a month.
Unbelievable story.
And they raised them. Yeah, it's definitely the measure of a man.
Yeah, and that's a great story, and a lot of people just never knew that about him. I didn't know that about him until just now. That's a great story. And
it is by far. I did Tops 13 years. It is by far my interaction with Robbie Thompson was by far my favorite of all the people I met, and I signed Ken Griffey Jr. to his Tops contract, Will Clark to his original Tops contract, had to send away for Ken Griffey's approval from his dad, had to co-sign the contract. He was 17 years old in Billingham, Washington. And that pales in comparison to my interaction with Robbie. And I'm not looking back in retrospect. I'm talking about the initial interaction, not even thinking about what happened since. They didn't even know he was an A-ball when I knew him, didn't even know about what he was doing with his family. A great story, and really a terrific second baseman.
Yeah, probably the strongest arm I've seen on the cutoff in my entire career.
Really?
Yeah.
And
Robbie.
Just to remind the folks who are listening, Michael, how many games have you seen in your lifetime?
About 4,100 now. But I'm going to qualify it and say on the right side of the diamond, the strongest cutoff arm I've seen, because it's pretty tough to go against Brandon Crawford right now.
Right. Hey, real quick, let me tell you what I'm thankful for, because we're coming up against the time. I'm thankful for my dear Tally for a number of reasons. But what I'm thankful most is that she taught me to live in the moment you're in. And in the moment I'm in right now, I'm talking to my two buddies, and I just want to say that I'm thankful for that. So.
Well, right back at you, big guy.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I enjoy
one of the joys of life.
With you. You got mine too. Sometimes I got to tell you, as a producer of this podcast thing, sometimes I hesitate to ask you guys to be on, because I know how valuable your time is, and I eat up so much of it. I'm so appreciative, both of you.
Well, sometimes I'm a little nervous when you ask me to, because I don't think I have anything to say. And then an hour later, what we've done is I've proven it.
I will take.
Now that's a Hank Greenwald type line. Am I correct?
Well, let me. I have to tell you the first thing.
Not his, but I'm not accusing you of stealing. But that's the kind of line.
Well, let me tell you.
All right.
My lovely wife Kelly and I were at the first game at the new Scottsdale Stadium. The old Scottsdale Stadium was an absolute ode to what could be done with plywood. The entire stadium was built from it, including what passed for a press box, which was a 3-sided plywood booth with folding tables. And they used to broadcast from there. So we're at the new Scottsdale Stadium, which is made out of sandstone and brick and is beautiful. It's built by HOK, the same people who built AT&T. And the very first game is over, and people are lining up along the stairway in the stands to go up to the window at the press box and interact with Hank. And I wait my turn, and I'm very near the end of the line, and I get up there, and the first thing I say to him is, "You must be thrilled to finally be in a real press box to keep the rabble away." And without missing a second, he said, "Well, it's not working as well as we'd hoped right now."
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Hey, listen, continue to rest in peace, Hank Greenwald and Willie McCovey, who died recently. But you know what we do have to be thankful for is that we still have Cha-Cha. And Cha-Cha has come back pretty strong, given everything.
Yep.
And that is in itself was a miracle. So if we're going to be thankful for anything specific to the Bay Area and Bay Area baseball, let's be thankful that we still have Orlando Cepeda.
Well, I'm going to send you out with a story. Yeah, I'm going to send you out with a story about that, Ralph.
Okay.
I am thankful for many things, but one of them is the opportunity to be involved in some things that other people don't get the chance to be. And I remind myself on a continual basis that when I have access to something special, that literally there are thousands and thousands of people who would give their firstborn to trade places with me for 15 minutes. Well, at the celebration of life for Willie McCovey, there was a private reception in the Giants locker room afterwards, and I was invited to that, which was an honor. And I got to speak with many people there from many, 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 many years of Giants history. But the most important thing that I got to do was to see Orlando. He was sitting in a locker because he doesn't have the stamina to stand all day yet. But I was able to go over and I literally wrapped him in a bear hug, and I told him, "You are loved by so many people. We are so, so thankful to have you still."
Oh, that was sweet.
Story.
Very nice, Michael.
That is a terrific story. Once again, I can't come away from this thing without tearing up. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Jerry. Happy Thanksgiving to you, your loved ones. I'm so appreciative.
Have a blessed day. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Have a blessed day, and remember that the more thanks you give, the better you'll get.
You got that right.
Be well, guys. Thank you for listening, everybody. It's Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. Comfortably Zoned with me, the Zig Zag Man. And sometimes it's better than others. This was wonderful. Thank you, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye-bye now.
The proceeding was a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production. Thank you for listening.